in South Africa. All right. My name is Timothy Sitole, and I'm a researcher with Intellidex. And before I introduce you our guest for today, I would like to briefly mention that tomorrow afternoon, Intellidex will be hosting a panel discussion for investing in impact in South Africa, pension funds. My colleague Ernest will send the link in the comment section. Also, just a reminder that our session today is being recorded, so after this, you'll be able to find it on Facebook and all our channels. With that out of the way, I'd like to introduce to you my guest today, Kagisho Mahura, who is the co-founder of Gradidge-Mahura Investments, an independent financial planning practice founded in 2008 by Kagisho Mahura and Craig Gradidge. The practice is based in Ilovo with offices in Durban and Cape Town. And let me just give you a brief bio on our guest today. Kagisho holds a Bachelor of Business Science at UCT, postgraduate diploma in financial planning UFS, and an MBA from Stellenbosch. He was an MBA Student of the Year in 2008, International MBA Student of the Year top 4 finalist, and past winner of the NBMAA in Atlanta, USA. He is a certified financial planner and is a member of the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa. He was a Financial Planner of the Year top 10 finalist in 2013. In 2015, he was elected chairperson of the Gauteng Regional Committee of the FPI, and he also sits on several boards of leading SA private and listed businesses. He is a founding member and serves on the ESC of SA Independent Financial Advisors Association. And he has also been in the industry since 1996 and gained experience at an operational management and executive level at Old Mutual and Coronation. Kagisho, thank you for joining us today. I have a few questions for you, and I'm sure your audience also has some that they want to ask. To the audience, please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A function below, and my colleague Ernest will be queuing those up as we go, and we'll ask them at the end. Just quickly, by way of background, this webinar series is part of the launch of the new report called Understanding South African Startups, Insights and Advice from Successful Entrepreneurs. Our team worked with ESquared Investments, an impact investor founded by the late Dr. Alan W.B. Gray. We'd also like to thank ESquared for commissioning the research and helping us to develop the list of 25 entrepreneurs that we interviewed. Llewellyn Fredericks from ESquared Investments is available to give us a short input of how they commissioned and helped us fund this research. And after that, we'll go to the questions with Kagisho. Llewellyn, please go ahead.
Sure, thanks, Timothy. I was told I just have 3 minutes. I don't want to take too much time from our esteemed guests. So I'll just cover 3 things. Who is ESquared for those that don't know? Why did we look to commission this study, and what we hope to achieve as an outcome of the study? So ESquared is an impact investor founded in 2007 as part of a long-term empowerment strategy. We are the empowerment partner to Alan Gray and hold a significant stake in the investment manager. Together with associated Alan Gray philanthropies, our mission is to attack poverty and change the unemployment landscape in South Africa. We hope to achieve our mission primarily through providing patient capital to the entrepreneurial opportunities founded and or managed by Alan Gray Fellows. Why we look to commission the study is really because we do actually have a vested interest in this area. We ourselves look to invest very early, often where the business is really just the founding team. It is valuable for us to understand what the likely ingredients for successful entrepreneurship are, particularly in the South African context. To give a sporting analogy, it would be great to be able to identify the potential and under what environment would improve the execution potential of someone like Cheslin Kolbe, Serena Williams, Lewis Hamilton, when they first started sport. Today's discussion seeks to identify whether entrepreneurial success is influenced by the founder's social context. If there is a causal link, it could make sense for ESquared to put in place complementary interventions to address any shortcomings in a particular entrepreneur's social context. What we hope to achieve as an outcome of this study is to contribute really to the understanding of the dynamics of entrepreneurship, particularly successful startups in South Africa, to play a role in driving the culture of entrepreneurship in South Africa, and I guess lastly, to facilitate awareness of the matters causing lubrication or friction on the wheels of entrepreneurship growth. I hope that satisfies the intro, Timothy. I'm keen to hear your interview.
Thank you very much, Llewellyn, for that. And just to continue on his point, our report follows the 5 themes, and today's interview is focused on the second of them, which is the social context. And as Llewellyn said, we want to find out from our entrepreneur today on how his community, family, friends impacted on his successful nature and the way he is today. And with that out of the way, Mr. Kagisho, I hope you are prepared, and let's delve into the first question that we have for you.
Yeah, okay. Let me start by saying thanks to you, Timothy, for the invite to come and have a conversation with you today. So I think your question, if my memory serves me well, from about 2 minutes ago, was the influence that kind of family has on entrepreneurs at times.
Yes.
Look, from my experience specifically, is that, you know, we are coming from established jobs like the Coronations and Old Mutuals where I used to work. My parents were significantly, you know, disturbed by the fact that one was going to leave to go start a new business completely. And obviously the risk that comes with that unsettles one's parents when you go out and you take a risk of that sort and you don't really have a huge nest egg to fall back on. But
True.
besides that, what people often, the kind of resistance that other entrepreneurs face is basically if they're married, their partners, or if they're in a serious relationship, because when you go out and start your own business, you often put the family at huge risk, particularly if you don't have a strong enough balance sheet to carry them. And many businesses go through a very difficult time in the first, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and therefore exposing the family to that type of risk often meets a huge amount of resistance from the people's partners, their siblings, and often their parents. And therefore one needs to be very sure in their own minds that going out to start a business is something that you really, really want to do, and you've got a reasonable probability of success, because nobody can ever say for sure that a business is going to work, but you need to have at least done your sums, done your homework, put a reasonable business plan in place, played your kind of base case, low case, and high case type scenarios, and then go out and do it. But most certainly, if you don't take your family along with you, you are just multiplying the probability of failure by a couple of effective a couple of times, because it is an incredibly difficult time, the first couple of years of a business, and you need your family and your support structure in place to help you get through that period.
And also in the interview, the first interview, you spoke of how important having a partner that supports you when you are starting a business. What would you say are the other benefits of having a partner, or what has it granted you having a partner in starting a business?
Are you referring to a personal partner or a partner in business?
A partner in business.
Oh, okay. All right. Look, when Craig and I started the business, I mean, obviously it was the two of us, and the first advantage of that is that you've got more than one brain. You've got more than one set of eyes to see things as they are unfolding. So, so it was a huge benefit for us to have more than one person thinking about things. We shared the workload when we were putting the business plan together. We came with different sets of skills. We came with different sets of networks, and therefore that kind of multiplied our ability to make the business successful. And the nice thing about that type of relationship is it kind of makes a 1 + 1 = 3. You know, really but the important thing about that partnership is two things. One, you've got to try and find somebody that complements your skills. So there's no really a point in having somebody that has exactly the same skills and as you do, because it really doesn't help to diversify what the business can achieve. But the second and most important part of that process of getting a partner is ensuring that you are aligned from a values perspective. You know, making sure that the person that you're going into business with sees life in a very similar way to the way you do, and more importantly, that it's someone that you can trust. I mean, if you look back in history, the number of people whose businesses have not succeeded, it hasn't been because people are not quite good at what they do. It's often because they didn't really trust each other, or they didn't have the same value set. And I find that if you have a partner that you share a similar value set with, that you share a similar work ethic with, that goes a very long way in helping the business to succeed. Two is always better than one, you know, as long as you're aligned from a values and from a trust perspective.
That is very important. I can understand that. And also touching on Craig, your partner, a little bit, I came across an interview where you spoke about growing up without much and transitioning to having like a little to having a lot now in his position. Would you say that you feel the same, or what was your experience growing up in your community?
Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at our age, there's very few people of our age group that grew up with a lot, you know. And I think the context of what Craig was talking about is kind of when you look back when we were born and the kind of families we were born into. It was obviously not wealthy families. It was families that were middle to lower income in terms of LSMs, if you can put it like that. So it was a tough upbringing in a lot of people's eyes, in that we didn't have a lot that we could fall back on. But it's the kind of thing that at the same time gives you that determination to succeed. You know, it gives you that determination and that ability to be strong, to work through the difficult times, to be able to see it through. Not that where we are sitting now, we have a lot. We're most definitely far from having a lot. We're probably better off sitting in corporate. And I'm sure we'd be a lot richer had we stayed in corporate than where we are now. But it most certainly is much better than where we were when we grew up. We're in a much better financial position. And I think a lot of this current success is driven by the fact that we did come from fairly difficult backgrounds, or at least they were not affluent backgrounds as many would see today.
Yeah. And you mentioned how degrees have worked to your advantage. And obviously, as we read through your bio, I'm sure our participants know how well educated you are now. Would you say that that has played a positive impact in the spaces that you are today, or how it has granted you success in your business?
Hey, Timothy, Joe, degrees are pieces of paper, you know. it's what you do with it, which is important, you know. And I think look, let me not downplay the importance of education. I think it's absolutely critical, because what it does, it provides you with knowledge, it provides you with skills, it provides you with abilities that you otherwise wouldn't have. But degrees in themselves should never be an end in themselves. There must always be a means to a particular end. And what has been incredible for us, or what has been helpful for us in terms of our education, is that we sit in an industry that is very technical, you know, and therefore you need an ability to understand very technical things. You need to understand how investments work. You need to understand how estate planning works. You need to understand how taxes work. So your education is absolutely critical in the industry where we are now. But in itself, it's not enough. You know, you need to couple that with a huge amount of emotional intelligence, because you're dealing with people. You're dealing with old people, with young people, with white people, with black people, with all sorts of characters, with rich people, with poor people. So your ability to actually relate to people as people, more than just relying on your educational background, is absolutely critical in the field that we're in. So absolutely, wherever you go as an entrepreneur, make sure you've got the technical skills, which is what the degrees give you, but never ever underestimate the value of the emotional intelligence, the people relationships, the understanding of human relations, because that's really the key to the success of any business. The technical side in the long run plays a much smaller role in the success of the business. It's the emotional side and the people relationship side that keeps businesses successful.
No, I understand. I also interviewed a guy called Dean Bota from Pride Factor, and he expressed a lot of interest in that our educational system needs to change a bit so that the young people can be taught emotional intelligence, as in education only is not going to carry it if you want to be a successful entrepreneur one day. So I'd say that you also believe in the same sentiments.
Look, I mean, absolutely. The biggest issue with, I think, with the current generation is that they spend more time in front of their gadgets than actually with human beings, you know. And but maybe that's the new generation. That's the way they relate to one another. And maybe business will be done differently 20, 30 years from now by people who actually don't want to interact with each other, don't even care about how each other are actually doing. They care more about the likes on their social media pages. But I think where we sit right now, most definitely the human interaction and the human relationship plays a critical role in the success of businesses currently. It might change in the future, but for now, an entrepreneur that ignores that at their own peril.
And our last question is centered a bit more on that. We know that you had an entrepreneurship spirit from a pretty young age. So would you say that entrepreneurship is something that you are born with, or it's a product of social influences?
Timothy, you know, these questions about whether leadership is born into someone or ingrained in it from birth, or they learn it. It's the same with entrepreneurship. You know, I think I've seen a lot of people who display an entrepreneurial spirit, but in a corporate sector, and I've seen a lot of people who think they're entrepreneurs going out studying a business and not quite making it work. Look, in my case, and I'm sure to a large extent in Craig's case, lack or slash, I don't want to call it poverty because I never thought of myself as a poor person. But just lack of resources, it was a huge driver in me wanting to get the resources that I want. You know, I was never one to give up on life. So from a very young age, I had to find different ways of making money. And they seemed to come to me fairly easily, whether it was playing marbles with my friends, winning those marbles and selling them back to them, and then winning them back from them again. Or, I mean, I can tell you in my street, we were the first family to have a TV. So I used to charge the guys R5 to watch TV from the window, from outside. So whether that was entrepreneurship, it was just being a skellum, I don't know. But it was always trying to find a way of making money and having my own means so that I didn't have to rely on somebody. You would remember in the good old days, stadiums used to be packed with football. So my friends and I would sell apples and bananas and stuff and try and make money while we were watching the sport. And funny enough, we used to be allowed to get into the stadium for free because we were seen as vendors, you know, and as service providers. So we'd get to enjoy watching the soccer match for free while actually making money at the same time. But having said that, I mean, if I had come from a rich family that provided everything for me, I probably wouldn't have done any of those things, you know? So I wouldn't then say I was born with it and I went ahead and did it anyway. So in my case, it was driven very much by a desire to be independent and to get the things that I wanted out of life.
I hear you. And another question that I have here, were there people in your life or in Craig's life that you would say provided substantial guidance and helped you to succeed besides financial like aspects of that? But would you say there was someone that was always there providing that guidance for you to be the person that you are today?
Look, we were very fortunate to have worked for corporates that were established, and they did incredibly well. I mean, we worked at Old Mutual. So I'm going to mention one person by name because he played a critical role in how our business ended up where it was. And funny enough, is the recently announced CEO of MTN, which was Ralph Mupita. You know, Ralph played a huge role in when we put our first business plan together. We sent it to him to go and review, you know, and And obviously as entrepreneurs, you always walk out thinking that you're very good at what you do. And he literally kind of, ripped our business plan apart, and we walked away kind of with our tail between our legs. But that was the kind of support that the people gave us along the way. When we went to someone like that, he gave us the support, he gave us the honest feedback that we needed to hear. And he has stayed a solid supporter of a business like our own. But there's a whole bunch of other people. There are guys that are sitting on our board now, the likes of Grant Gilling, etc. So I don't want to go through a whole list of them. But most certainly, if you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to surround yourself with people that have walked the path before, have managed businesses before, have failed at managing businesses before, so that you can get honest feedback. And you need to have an open mind, and you need to have a teachable spirit, so that when those people are giving you the advice, that you take it on board, you make the changes that need to be made, and then you'll succeed. But most certainly, never believe that you're going to be able to go out there without any help from anyone, and you're going to make this thing work on your own. You'll be silly to do that. Tap into your networks, tap into the people that understand that business better than yourself, and get advice for people with a bit of gray hair and who've knocked themselves trying to do what you're doing.
I think you've tapped perfectly into the theme of our interview today on how communities actually play a role in success of people. And just like to thank you for that. And I just have one question here from Sipopilim. He asks that you made a statement on that you'd probably be richer in corporate than taking the entrepreneurship path. Are you satisfied in how things have turned out for you with Gradidge-Mahura?
Am I satisfied? Let me put it to you this way. The lifestyle I've led over the last 12 years is priceless. I would never have been able to own my own time like I have over the last 12 years. So it's very difficult to put a price on it. In monetary terms, when we look at the kind of equity and benefits that one had before, one would say financially we are not quite at the same level that we would have been, but from a lifestyle perspective, most definitely I'm very satisfied with the decision that I've made. And the truth about this is you can't put a price on it. You can't say it's been worth X. The fact that you could, and the satisfaction of being able to build a business like this, that employs people, that has an effect on 20, 26 families at some stage, that level of satisfaction, no one can put a price on it. But certainly we believe in the future, as we continue to put our hearts into this business, that the value that we lost working in corporate will definitely make it back as the business continues to grow and become successful.
So there is a Nkateko Matabula in the question and A section here that says he loves the practicality of the advice that you're giving. And with that, he also has a question that is it easier to ask for help when you know what you need, and how can you approach getting help from people when you don't know where you are lacking?
Oh, it's a difficult question. The simple answer to it is, if you don't know what you need, you are probably in deeper trouble than you realize. Because even if you get the help, you're not going to know that you got the right help. But it's an important question because a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves in that space, that they have an idea and they are gung-ho on making this idea work, and they don't know what it really takes to make that idea work. And whatever advice they get, they often reject because they believe in their hearts of hearts that this thing is going to work. So someone like that might as well not even ask for advice, because they're not looking for advice. They're looking for people to confirm that what they think is going to work is going to work. And anybody that doesn't agree with them, they reject that advice. So it is very important that you understand what it is that you don't know, and that you ask for help. Then it's help and it's advice. And you're not looking for somebody to rubber stamp a foregone conclusion that you have made in your own head already.
All right, and I will take a last question from Dennis Mhangami here that is asking, is social capital more important than financial capital as one is starting up?
Could you say that again, Timothy?
Is social capital more important than financial capital when one is starting up?
You know, it depends. It depends on the kind of business that you are starting, up. If you are starting a capital-intensive business and you need R1 billion, then you need R1 billion. There's nothing we can do. The financial capital is critical. But I think I know where the question is coming from. And where the question is coming from is the networks that you have and the social capital that you have around you, is it as important as people make it out to be? And I think the answer to that is a definite yes. We are social beings, man. You know, starting a business is hard. There are moments when things just don't go right. You know, I mean, between Craig and myself, there were days where we fight, you know, and it's difficult when you get home. And you need the infrastructure around you of human beings that support you when the times are down, when the times are hard, and celebrate with you when the times are good. So starting the business, the financial capital, of course, is critical. I mean, without the money, you're not going to be successful. But often businesses fail because the people that are running those businesses do not have the support structure they require to succeed, particularly when the going gets tough. You know, you need that parent, that partner, that brother, that sister, that friend that holds your hand through those difficult times and encourages you. In fact, your own business partner needs to be there with you when you're going through your own difficult times. And I can tell you in this case, I mean, with Craig, I went through a very difficult time at the beginning of the business. And one of our shareholders is actually a friend of Craig that Craig referred to us, is a shareholder in the business. And the amount of counseling the gentleman took me through to take me through the difficult time, I can never put a price on it. Of just having the two of them understanding what I was going through and helping me through that difficult time. So the social capital is absolutely critical. It doesn't pay the bills, but it keeps you sane.
I love that answer. I love that answer. And just on that note, you seem to be quite a hit today because the questions keep on coming. So if, with your permission, I can just take
platinum. You say I'm a hit. I'm on platinum now.
Double platinum, double platinum.
I must win the summers.
I'm sure you're well on your way to getting there. And I'll take this one question from our chairman of Intellidex, Stuart Theobald, that asked, you decided to go into a highly regulated industry, and you've said that freedom is one of the main returns from entrepreneurship. But how have you found the experience of dealing with a lot of regulations as an entrepreneur?
Look, our industry is often referred to as highly regulated, but I don't think there's an industry in this country that is not regulated. I mean, there's a law for every business that exists in this country. I think the perception that our industry is highly regulated is simply because of the kind of scams that have happened in our industry, and therefore the regulation had to be more rigorous. But when you look at that regulation, it actually is common sense. It is what this industry was supposed to be doing in the first place. You know, we were supposed to be disclosing information to the clients. We were supposed to be treating our clients fairly. We were supposed to be open with our communication. We were supposed to be reviewing the investments and the plans that we put together for our clients. So this industry is actually not over-regulated, so to speak. We've just been asked by lawmakers to do things that we were supposed to have done in the beginning. So the regulation has in no way curtailed the freedom for us. In fact, it has actually helped us to put a structure around our businesses so that we actually serve our clients better. So it has in no way encroached on our freedom to do the job that we're supposed to be doing in the manner that we want to be doing it. And I'm hoping I'm answering the question and the essence of what Stuart was trying to ask.
Thank you very much, Kagisho. And thank you very much also for the time that you gave us today, and we wish you more success with your ventures in the future. And I also just like to thank the teams at ESquared and IntelliDex for helping us with all this research and what we have managed to produce. I hope you guys get a time to read it. I'm sure my colleagues have put the link in the comment section for anyone that wants to download and read the research. And if you have any questions, please don't feel afraid to send them to us and we'll be happy to answer you. And with that said, please join us next week at 3 p.m. for another interview with FinChatbot Anton Palisao. You can visit our website to download the report, and any other details will be shared on our sites. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you very much, Mr. Mahura. Your words of closing to our people?
Yo, I didn't see that one coming. I thought I was done.
Just to say goodbye now.
Just to say goodbye to everybody. I think just a word to the entrepreneurs out that are listening out today. I think guys, our country needs people to start businesses and to employ themselves and to employ the millions of unemployed people in this country, particularly the youth. The route that you've taken is not an easy one. It's a hard one, but it's one that is incredibly rewarding. But don't try and do it alone. You know, try and find people that have got a lot of experience around this. Find mentors. Find the social infrastructure that is going to help you get there, and just never give up. You know, if you think you're going to be successful in a year or 2 or 3, you're probably fooling yourself. Put a long-term view on your business, build a proper business, and then you will reap the rewards in the future. That's my 2 cents. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mahura. And good time, everybody. See you next week.
Yeah. Cheers.